desde Las Vegas, Nevada. Iniciamos con el programa Hablando de bienes y raíces con Castillo y sus invitados. Comenzamos.
Good morning, Las Vegas. My name is Castillo, and we're starting here the show of, again, real estate. We're talking about Hablando de bienes raíces. We're here in the Lawyer's Title Studio. We have a great guest, and I think that it's going to be a very fun, great show. We're going to be talking about a lot of things that go into the real estate aspect, which is going to affect the buyers, the sellers, and the actual real estate professionals. So we have here in studio Mr. Aeon. Aeon, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Not a problem. Aeon, if you want to go ahead and give me your name, your last name, the company you work with, how long you've been doing this, and why is it that you do what you do?
Okay. My name is Aeon Jones. I run Avia Media Group. We've been in business. We're coming up on our 6-year birthday here in about a week. I just wanted to make money with my camera.
That's fair.
You know, I'd probably tried almost every kind of photography career and failed in almost all of them, but failure is a great teacher, and along the way just consumed as much about business and you know, just like, what am I trying to say? I consumed about as much as I could about business and photography careers as I possibly could.
Right.
And decided to get a drone, and then it was the drone that got me into real estate. And it made a whole lot of sense to me. The business to business model rather than business to consumer was much more suited for me. And so, yeah, we've been charging hard since then. And in 6 years, we've grown to probably the second or third largest real estate media specific company in Las Vegas.
Cool. And, you know, I love that. And the reason why I asked that question is because, you know, a lot of people that go into business, you know, they went to college and got a business degree and their studies and everything. And you literally has grind. You have grind from the very beginning. And now here, almost 6 years later, you're running a successful company. You figure out the path that needed to be figured out. You're doing it because you're passionate about taking images. And you and I met when you were teaching a class, and I'm like, man, that is so cool, because real estate agents don't understand the power of images, the power of video. You know, and everybody says, well, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I'm like, well, a video is worth 1,000,000 words, because you could play it back and forth. You could there's so many things. And I loved you in the class because you really broke it down to people with the agents with data, and you're not just talking just because you're like, oh, I want to get business. No, it's like you're giving them actual data. And one of the things that really, really stuck to me is that, you know, you get information from the National Association of Realtors, and what they say if a property is listed and has professional pictures done, and they don't, because, you know, we all have a cell phone and it's a great camera,
phenomenal,
and, you know, we're like, yeah, we're gonna take, you know, we'll go to the listing agent, you know, that listing agent goes to the sellers like, oh yeah, you know, I am gonna go ahead and come in and do a TikTok video and an Instagram video and everything. And again, your camera on your phone is great, but it's not just taking great images, it's putting the whole video together and everything. And I loved, you said something in the class that said, you know, you could have a mediocre phone and do great pictures and then have a mediocre video, or you could do a professional one and really have impacted a lot more people. Can you go into details on why you decided to start teaching this one class that it's phenomenal?
Yeah, thanks. So I was sponsoring a CE class, the home warranty specialist had put together, and Lee Barrett.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Lee Barrett.
Correct.
He was the instructor, and Lee took me out to lunch probably 2.5-3 years ago, and he said, I want you to put together a 1-hour class on real estate photography. So that began probably a 2-year journey in digging into NAR's numbers, digging into Redfin's numbers, Zillow, et cetera. And yeah, finding a lot of the statistical data that reinforced what a lot of people just know intuitively, which is that, you know, professional images outperform cell phone images. But
Correct.
in that research, the data backs it up. You know, like year after year, NAR creates their annual generational trends report. Every single year, the top 3 things that home buyers want to see, according to NAR in this report, and they survey, it's a lot of people. I think it's over 100,000 people who've been in a transaction in the past year.
Correct.
And photography is the number one thing people want to see, followed by written detailed description.
Yes.
Followed by a floor plan. It's like those are the top 3 things year after year after year. So, you know, it's like the benefits after going through all this data from all these sources, I realized that there's literally no downside when a realtor hires a professional real estate photographer to photograph their listings.
Correct.
Because statistical data show that professional photos versus cell phone photos will generate a higher asking price, higher offer price for the home, shorter days on market, and it's a professional representation of the realtor's brand.
Right.
You know, and so it's better for the homeowner, it's better for the realtor, it's better for me and my photographers.
Correct.
You know, there literally is no downside.
Right. And, you know, there was something that I love that you said, that, you know, the verbiage, the you know, the actual words we use to describe things make a big difference. And you said in that class, when you take a listing, don't tell them, oh, you know what, my business partner is going to come in and take pictures. Oh, you know, oh, the guy that I hired to take the professional pictures. You actually used a sentence that I'm like, holy crap, this just puts you on a different level. Would you mind sharing that for me?
So, yeah, of course. I'm a huge proponent of systems.
Correct.
Right? So, like, we're all in business for ourselves, right?
100%.
So realtors, each realtor is in business for themselves. I'm in business for myself, you know, you as well. So what I say is, and when I'm in the class, I take a page out of Lee's book, actually. I tell everyone, write this down.
Yes.
Write this down. Do not, when you're in that listing presentation, say, I'm going to hire a professional photographer. Tell them instead, I'm going to bring in my media partners, or I'm going to bring in my creative marketing team, and we're going to create the professional marketing material so that we can market your brand, not just put it on the MLS and keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Because anymore, you have to actively market a home.
Yes. Yes. And, you know, everybody, you know, I mean, we're all involved in social media, and we see people doing all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, you know, social media can only get you so far. You do need that professionalism. You do need that setting up of the home and the lighting. And I mean, there's just so many other layers that just, you know, if you look at 2 pictures and one of them is like, oh yeah, well, this was cool. But then you look at professionally done picture. And one of the other things that you showed in that class was, you know, the difference between the twilight pictures, you know, that just makes the house pop.
It does. It's psychological.
It is. Yeah.
You know, I don't believe that, you know, I don't believe that the photography will sell the house.
Okay.
Right? That's not the job of the photographer. If the photography sold the house, we'd have 16,000 real estate photographers in town and very few real estate agents, right?
That's a good point.
But what I do believe very, very strongly is that bad images of a house might prevent somebody from looking deeper into a house that might otherwise be good for them.
Okay.
So if you put good photos up front, and sequencing is just as important as professional photos, right? Like there's more than just getting professional photos done. You got to put them in the right order.
Correct.
And I have statistical data that backs that up as well.
Yeah.
And case studies too. But give them the professional photos and make people go deeper to make the determination for the photos to do the actual job, which is to sell the request for showing.
Correct.
And that's just math. The more people you get looking through it, which is generated, I mean, statistically, we've seen it through the professional photos, the more people are going to request to see it. More requests for showings is going to generate more offers.
Correct.
And from there is highest and best.
Yeah, because, you know, I've seen a lot of listings of people, and, you know, let's be honest, the pictures look phenomenal. And then you show up and the house does not match.
I've seen that. We've been accused of that, you know. And
you know, but again, right? But at least you got them the appointment, which the bottom line is you need to have foot traffic in your property.
Exactly. You need feet through the door.
Right.
Period.
Right. And then, you know, one of the other things that I always get and I always encounter that the agent's like, oh, well, you know, I got my own drone and, you know, I offer that service to my seller and, you know, I have full control of those and everything. And you said something in the class that really shocked me. And I'm like, you know what? I think more people need to listen to this advice, because just getting a drone, it's fine. if you're gonna take pictures of your dog,
Yeah.
or you're gonna take pictures, of you doing something. But once you cross that line, there are repercussions.
There can be repercussions.
There can be repercussions, and can we share those? And again, we're not trying to scare anybody. We're just trying to make them aware of what the issues could come along. So please.
So you can buy a $400 drone from Costco.
Yeah.
Right? No big deal. You can go out, like I think it's west of Durango, Fort Apache. I think west of Fort Apache is the far edge. You can fly however you want to fly. However, the FAA is the governing body of the airways of all airspace in the United States.
Correct.
And they view flying a drone very black and white. It's binary for them. You are flying for recreation or you are flying for commercial purposes.
Correct.
There's zero gray area. So where this is a problem, particularly in Las Vegas, more than most other areas, like look at Denver, it's where the airports are located. We have 4 airports here. We have Nellis, North Las Vegas, Harry Reid, and Henderson Executive. And they're all right down through the middle of town.
Correct. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but don't forget all the hospitals that have the helipad. So the airspace is really, really...
It's all controlled.
It's controlled.
So the way airspace works is around each airport, it's like an upside down wedding cake.
Correct.
Right? You have like the 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, and the maximum height for drones to legally fly is 400 feet.
Correct.
Some minor exceptions. It's 400 feet from where you launch.
Right.
So like I've launched from the top of Veer Tower. So I can technically go up
Another
400 feet from the roof, but I can only go 400 feet away from the tower.
Correct.
So I got some great like night video of the pools on top of Veer going over the strip, et cetera, et cetera. But all of Las Vegas and Henderson, it's covered in controlled airspace. So you can't fly a drone in controlled airspace recreationally unless you have your FAA Part 107. Now, the 107 is like the real estate license, really.
Okay.
It's not designed to allow you to sell real estate. It's designed to keep you out of jail if you're selling real estate without the license. So the drone is the same thing.
Right.
The license is there to protect you in case. So if a realtor wants to go buy a drone, that's fine. If a realtor wants to take pictures of houses, and if they say, well, I'm just taking pictures of houses for fun, if that goes in front of a judge, do you think a judge is going to say, okay, you're taking pictures of houses or video of houses and you have a real estate license?
Right.
You telling me a judge is going to see that as recreational? Well, there's not a chance.
No, the first question he's going to ask is this your home?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, so there is no chance. And again, we're stepping into boundaries. We're pushing the limit on things because you want to save a couple of dollars if you really think about it.
Well, for sure. And it's, like the real estate exam, the FAA 107 it's an intimidating thing. And like real estate, you retain about 1% of it that you actually use in the day to day.
Correct.
But the problem is not in the doing it. The problem is in the repercussions of if something happens, right? Like if you break the speed limit, it's not a problem unless someone gets hurt or you get pulled over by a cop.
Yeah,
you're just breaking the law. It's not a big deal until you get caught.
Correct.
So, and here's something to keep in mind. The FAA, and there's a whole division in Metro designed to watch the drone airspace. They're called Fusion Watch, and they are watching. And they have the ability to triangulate your position, and they will roll up on you. So like anytime I'm flying in proximity to the strip, I let them know so that if they come over, they go, okay, this was already on our list. Correct. And I've done it before where I was just off strip, but close enough to the strip. And I had permission from the FAA, I'm fully licensed, all my pilots. I don't hire someone to work as a media pro unless they get their 107. For me, it's a starting point. It shows true professionalism and dedication to superior professionalism and service. So
correct.
So I've had cops roll up on me and they're like, hey, are you flying a drone? I said, yeah. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, you guys don't know what you're doing because they don't ever run into it either. So I was like, okay, you're in good hands because I'm not an asshole. And this is here's my license, here's the expiration date, here's the FAA authorization, and they're like, okay. And they were kind of excited because they don't ever really
encounter.
Particularly, like I said, I was off strip. They don't really get called to the strip stuff because that wasn't their area. So they were really fascinated because they got to do something different, and they just hadn't been run through it all. So they were really kind of glad about the experience. But the real problem where it comes with a realtor is, let's say the realtor doesn't have a drone. and they hire a photographer who doesn't have their 107. It's like speeding. If nothing happens, who's going to say anything, right? However, if something does happen, the FAA can charge the realtor a fine, like $15,000 fine, because the realtor hired a drone pilot who was not legally certified to fly a drone for commercial purposes. Now, here's like you get a lot of, like I said, there's no gray area with the FAA.
Right.
Outside of controlled airspace is called Class G. That's like west of Fort Apache, right? Like it's all wild area because it's not controlled. If you're flying in Class G airspace, not controlled airspace, uncontrolled airspace, and you're taking pictures of houses, that's still considered commercial flight.
Correct.
You still have to have a 107 to do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of misnomers, people don't understand, like, well, I can get the 250 gram
the small drones, and I don't have to register them.
That's a registration issue, not a what am I flying for, recreation or commercial reasons. We fly the 250 grammers all the time because it's a great tool. Guess what? You have to register it if you're going to fly commercially. And you have to be licensed,
right? And that's really good information because again, right, you're trying to educate the agent, and I love that in your class that you're like, look, you know what I mean, you could do it, you could speed, you could drink and drive, and if you get caught, then you got to deal with the consequences. And it's not that it's a scare tactic; it's an educational thing because a lot of them don't know. They just see it like that. Oh, you know what? I could buy a $400 drone, and I could fly it myself and everything. But then the repercussions that come with it, they don't understand that. I mean, I know. I know of a person that, it is a pilot with drones, and he was flying in the Strip. He did not get an FAA approval, and he ended up in jail for 2 days. I mean, it's just, it happens.
It happens because, like I said, like just like the cops or highway patrol, like they are watching. I mean, I have a friend who's a retired undersheriff, and he told me they have the ability to take the frequency of your drone and separate it from your controller, and then they can pilot your drone back to wherever they want to.
Yeah.
Like EDC, for example, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're in Nellis controlled space because that's up at the racetrack, and people will want to fly because all the fireworks and lights and all the crowds and everything, right? So it's a visual spectacle.
Right.
Fusion Watch, Metro, they'll take your drone right out of the sky.
Yep.
Like right away. I mean, you'll just lose control.
Yeah.
You can't have that stuff, and it's just. It's only a real problem if you get caught.
Right. Well, and the reason why we're bringing this up is because, again, right, you provide a service, you provide a level of different things. And, one of the other things, sticking with the drone scenario, you brought up a story where you had an agent saying, oh, I want some drone shots. And then you went up in the air and you're like, no.
Oh, yeah.
And again, that made me realize, I mean, we're all in this for money. We're all in this to make a living and everything, but that separates you. And you said a word earlier that made me realize you and your company and your, photographers, you guys are all professional because you guys are not going to jeopardize something for a little bit more money. No. And, can you share that story with me? Because it really, I'm like, you know what? Sure. This is a good guy. That honestly, and I was like, this is a good guy. Because anybody was like, I'll charge you another $150 and I'll take pictures. But you were more like about, this is your brand, dude.
Oh, yeah. But more than that, I understand, like, our business, like, we might take photos. That's the product. That's not our business. Our business is customer service.
Ooh, I love that.
Right? Yeah. Period. So we had a house, and behind the backyard was like one of those power substations. It was just big poles and electrical lines everywhere.
Yeah.
And so flying on that side to take photographs of the rear of the house was going to be a nightmare anyway.
Yeah.
Because, the power lines are 100 feet.
Yeah.
So you're looking down. And then from the front, all you could see is like this big power station behind the house. I was just like, okay, like we can't really avoid it from the ground. But I talked the agent. It's like, instead of spending this much on this package, I really don't think adding drone photos because of this, eyesore behind the house. And I might be biased because I really hate power lines.
Right.
That's a personal thing. So some people don't care. Obviously, they live right next to it. But I thought the drone photos, like just showing that behind the house, would just be a really big detractor and would prevent feet through doors. Right. So I talked to the agent. I downsold him. Like, hey, let's do a smaller package and not include drone because I don't think there's any benefit to having it.
Right.
And that's part of our brand. We're advisors, right?
Yeah.
We're consultants, you know, like we take photos, but we want to be considered our clients' media partners.
Yes.
You know, we don't want to just be a vendor.
Right. And again, that story just solidified. I'm like, man, this guy's a good guy, right? Because he's not in it just for the money. You're in it to literally help and partner up as a media company with the agents to provide them really good branding for themselves. Because let's be honest, and we were talking this before we went on the air, all real estate professionals, they're all small business. They're their own business owners.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if I'm JC Castillo and I have a real estate license, I am JC Castillo Real Estate, powered by, Realty One Group, Keller Williams, blah, 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 blah. Right. But it's me.
Right. Well, it's JC, the realtor, and JC, the husband, dog dad, professional bowler, whatever you do on the side.
Right.
I don't know what your personal hobbies are, but those are separate things.
They are. So you sit down with your clients and you're like, okay, you know what? Let's figure out how your branding is going to be, because, like I said, everybody and their mother now have social media, and they're all thinking they're doing great and everything. But if you have 1,600 real estate agents in social media,
16,000.
16,000, but let's say that only 1,600 are actually constantly doing social media. How are you going to be different if you don't have somebody watching your image, right?
Yeah. It's actually something I just kind of realized myself, because I follow a lot of people in my industry, real estate media businesses, right? And realtors will, they're not creative professionals for the most part, right? Some of them are pretty creative, but for the most part, they should be just business people, but I think by and large they're just people who sometimes don't even realize that they are also a business, and that those are separate entities. But
correct.
I think realtors get into a trap where they want to say, hi, my name is Joe Smith. Welcome to 123 Main Street.
Yes.
And they do that because they see other realtors doing that.
Correct.
But we're a creative professional, and we're like, well, don't do that. Like we will not, as a general rule, at the end of the day, our clients are the purse holders, so we'll do what they want.
Right.
But we're advisors, we're consultants.
Correct.
So as a general rule, we say, you're not going to say welcome. You're not going to say the address. You're not going to introduce yourself until the end, because nobody cares about you until they know what you can do for them.
Yes.
And that's not hurtful. That's truth.
Yes.
Nobody cares about me until they know what I can do for them. And
Agreed.
accept that as fast as you can, because that's a good hard truth. So, certain things, like, we're trying to break the mold, and we're trying to keep it interesting for social media. I have not validated the statistic, but somebody who's very high up and quite successful in Keller Williams, Las Vegas, told me that over 80% of real estate transactions begin as conversations on social media.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's true, but I believe that's true, because that sounds like a solid stat. Everybody's got their face in their phone. So Alex Hormozy, Cody Sanchez, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, everyone's got their face in their phone. Yep. And, we've been on this, on the creative marketing side of clients who have literally sold $5 million houses because a buyer was on their phone, and a reel we made of a $5 million house came up on their phone while they were in their living room and they were relaxed. And they're like, oh my God, let's go see it. And in the showing, my listing agent client was asked the showing agent, who happens to also be our client, so we got to shoot that other house too, because they bought the house. She said, how long have they been looking? The answer was, they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't on auto notification. They weren't looking to move.
Right.
But this house came up on their social media. They decided to go take a look, and they decided to buy a house. Now, apparently people who can afford to buy a $5 million house on a whim exist. Fantastic. I'm not one yet. But that's the real deal. The cell phone it's everything. But you have to create content that stops the scroll. That's what we call it. We have to create a hook that gets someone watching a little bit longer. And what might be a differentiator for us than some other brands is we really tried not to let our real estate clients tell us, well, this is what I want to do. Like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to do that because we can't let you do that. We have to advise them not only on the structure of how the video will work best, but also we think about how the algorithm works. So it's like we need to get someone to watch more than 5 seconds, and hopefully we need to get them to watch more than 50%, because
Right.
the algorithm looks at percentage of watch time.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer a person watches, the algorithm says, oh, they watched 55% of that video. Let's show it to another 500 people and see how it does. And if those people watch 55% or more, it goes even more. So our goal is more than just a video. We're also thinking about how it's consumed.
Right. And again, that's really, really cool, because, you know, the intro for you and your company, the media group, is, you know, we take professional pictures. But the layering above that is we become your social media consultants, and that's only social media. You know, your video, and your, you know, if you just want to do the, you know, the slideshow, whatever, you know, whatever your price point is, we're gonna make you the best thing, the best product out there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day is, again, right, you're competing against, you know, time. You're competing against other people, and you said it, right? I mean, I personally, when I send an email, no respond. When I make a phone call, goes to voicemail, and for a faster response, please send it. When I send a text, no response. But when I send a message through social media in their DM, they respond right away.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest thing, but you're right. You know, people are now really shopping through our social media. Yeah. And if we're standard, hi, I'm JC with blah, 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 and this is...
This is how irrelevant you can become. It's a flick of the wrist.
It is. Yeah. It is. So, you know, when they hire you, when they hire your company, again, right, you guys sit down with them, you guys do a consultation, say, look, you know what, we are going to make sure that your brand fits you, right? Because let's be honest, 16,000 plus agents out there, another, you know, 13,000 plus loan officers. We're all trying to, you know, service the same people, because they're all, you know, buyers or sellers. What's going to be different? And I think that at the end of the day is your personality.
Oh, that's 100% the only thing, really. Right. You know, like everyone has a different sense of humor. Mm-hmm. Everyone has different value to provide.
Correct.
Right. Like I got a client, she's more into dark humor, more willing to take risks. I have another client who is just very, very straightforward, very confident. Mm-hmm. He just wants to do what he wants to do. And, you know, it's nice working with him because it's usually one, maybe two takes. Right. You know, we don't have to do it over and over and over and over again, not long scripted monologues that, you know, we're trying to remember and regurgitate like an actor. Right. But we have those as well. Mm-hmm. But it, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, what is your brand like? Right. How do we curtail this mm-hmm. to fit your brand? You know, we have one client who's like, what are we doing this time? Okay, well, this time you're a saucy, chip on your shoulder type of realtor. Yeah, you know? Yeah. Like, and we can do something different with her every single time and just experiment. And that's one of my favorite clients because we do get to be creative. Yes, you know, we're professional. You know, we're not just camera operators. No, we're actually professional creatives. You know, and the camera's just a good tool for us to get that creativity out in the world. Right,
and I think that's really important again, right? Because you know, you sit down, you're looking at many different people that are being successful out there with their social media. I mean, I know there's a real estate agent out there, and I mean, she's hilarious. You know, she's not a local person, but all of her posts are like, here we go again, another $5 million home, and blah blah blah. And I'm just sitting there going, holy crap, this is working, because she got like, you know, 50,000 views and everything. So it's just, you know, playing with what you feel comfortable with. Yeah. And like you said, you know, the camera is just capturing the result. But at the end of the day, I know people that are like, oh, I have a whole bunch of videos, but I never post.
What's the point?
And I'm like, right? So, you know, your company is not only a professional photography company, not only a drone company, but also I think the biggest thing is, you know, you guys are an image, you know, you guys provide the platforms for the image of the agent for them to expose their brand.
I really believe that with the changes I see coming in my industry, mm-hmm. we are evolving away from being a real estate photography company, mm-hmm. evolving into a realtor marketing agency.
Ooh, I like that. That's
really what it is, because, you know, yeah. we need to help the agents sell themselves, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, you know, I've heard people say that video and good photos don't sell homes to buyers, they sell agents to sellers.
Okay, so that's a fair statement.
So if an agent's going up against competition, you know, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The unfortunate statistic, maybe fortunate for realtors, maybe unfortunate for the public, is 85% of people will contact one realtor.
Yes.
It's people don't, and this is baffling to me, but I'm also guilty of it. Before I got into the affiliate industry, right? I didn't know, right? I chose the lady that had the nice headshot that was like 20 years old to sell our last house. Like, oh man, that's super stereotypical. But man, I was in that. I was like, okay, just pick the pretty face and go, because it's all. I thought like 85% of people still think realtors are there to do a job.
Yes.
A bagger in a grocery store, $8 an hour, $11 an hour. They're there to do a job.
Correct.
People think realtors are like that.
Yes.
A gas station attendant.
Correct.
And there's no PS. And that's the craziest part, is this is often the most infrequent and largest purchase or sale of their entire life.
It is.
And they call one person. But think about the 15% who don't. And those are the ones who are a little bit more savvy.
Yeah.
And those are the ones in whose listing presentations you're going up against competition.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to have a suite of professional media backing you up to solidify you as the marketing expert, not only the real estate expert, for that property?
No, yeah. I mean, that makes total sense. I mean, I remember when I was a real estate agent back in '98, I was, working with one of the top producing agents in the LA Valley, right? In the Valley. And, he will come in and he will say, look, I'm a real estate professional, but my forte is marketing your home. And at the moment, I wouldn't understand. I'm like, well, wait a minute. We're real estate agents. Like, no, we need to present this home in a manner that it just attracts the most amount of eyes, and everybody wants to come and look at it. And that's when we then step into the real estate role and then start negotiating and start doing this and everything. But I'm like, man, that's such an idea that they don't teach you that in real estate school.
Oh, the marketing has to come before the sale.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to.
Yeah.
Period.
Right. So hiring the right marketing team makes a huge difference, like you said, especially within that 15% when you're going with, the top teams out there or the top real estate agent that have already figured out, hey, this is my niche.
So 100%. So I'm a big believer that every business and each individual realtor or real estate agent is a business.
Correct.
Whether or not they realize it or embrace it. Every business is, the success of that business is fully built on the foundation of the systems it creates.
Yes.
So as a media company, we just want to be one step in that system. And when I teach this class, it's a CE accredited class, by the way.
Yes.
And I'm working on a 3-hour.
Right.
I need to get that done soon. When I teach the class, I have a handout, because a system for a realtor can be as simple as a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Right. And on the handout I give is one size labeled buyers, one size labeled sellers. And, we don't really work with buyers agents, unless they need headshots or something, or video.
That's right. Oh yeah. That's
but
right.
we work with listing agents, right? Because listings need photos. So this system is in place. Like, when you get a seller, who do you need to call? And it's written down. Now, the beauty of having systems is it removes the unknown. It removes the chance of surprises.
Correct.
Right? So when you get a seller, you put that list on your cubicle wall. Okay, who would I need to call? I need to call the photographer, but first I need to call the handyman, the painter, the pool repair guy, the landscaper, the window washer, the cleaners. Like, who do you need to call before you call us? Because we should be the last people you call before you create the material.
I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but you are so correct, because the first thing the agent is like, let's get the pictures.
Yeah.
And you walk in as a professional and all of a sudden you're like, there's holes in the wall, there's paint is chipped, the grass is not green. I mean, I could Photoshop the home, but you want the pictures to match as much.
Right. And we, it's not our job to keep realtors or real estate agents in ethical compliance.
Right.
Right. So if someone says, hey, I need you to make these walls hot pink, it's like, all right, we'll do it. We charge a small fee for Photoshop.
Yeah.
But there are times like, it goes through my head. Are we misrepresenting the property?
Correct.
Which is it's something we consider, but it's not something that is relevant to us.
Right.
We're not going to get approached by the board.
Yeah.
We're not going to be liable to fines, you know, because like the realtor asked us to do it.
You're right.
But there's certain things we look at. It's like, and perfect example. Today I got a text from a client. She moved out of her place, got a new place, put a renter in it, did not bring us in after it was clean to take photos because she had a renter on the ropes. This guy's now moving out at the end of August. She wants me to go in and photograph it at the beginning of August, you know, and she's like, can you Photoshop all this stuff out of there? And so it's not just for us to go in, take photos and get paid.
Right.
I told her it might take you a little bit longer than you want, but honestly, it would probably be better because we would have to charge you every single photo to remove in Photoshop all this person's stuff.
Right.
It might take you a month of eating your mortgage on this investment property, but it would be better to do this right once.
Right.
Meaning, call us in there as soon as you get it done cleaning after he's moved out. You'll have that month and a couple of days, and then it's back on the rental market.
Right. And the key word there is clean.
Yeah. That's
because, you know, Photoshop is amazing. You could disappear things and you can make things appear.
magic.
But at the end of the day, when you have a clean slate, when you have a good base to work with, you know, one of the other things that your company does is you guys do staging in the pictures.
Yeah, virtual staging.
Virtual staging. Yeah. And I think that is such a cool thing because, again, walking in or seeing a picture of an empty room is like, blah.
Yeah. I'll say this. It's a really incredible like technology, right? So let me back up a little bit. A clean and prepared home does photograph better than a home that has not been prepared.
Correct.
Right? It's like it just does. So if it photographs better, that means you're going to have better marketing material.
Agree.
Right? Virtual staging, as good as it is, it can give an idea of what can be done with the space. It is not comparable to a staged home.
Right.
I would, if the budget's there, I would always advocate, if the budget's there and the home is right for it, to stage the house. Because there's been case studies, I teach this in the class as well, with like numbers of days on market. Where we went in, we photographed a beautiful modern new build in Mesa Ridge, like right as the house was getting completed, like the homeowners were getting divorced or something, so they were never even moving in. We went in, photographed it vacant. It sat for like 89 days vacant. Big space too, you know, like 5,500 square feet or something like that, right? Like 20-foot high ceilings and just big spaces. We, after like 89 days, agent said, hey, can we virtually stage it? Sure. And we went in, we virtually staged all these different rooms, and it was like another 45 or 49 days. Then she brought in professional stagers. 11 days later, it was under contract. Professional staging is absolutely worth the investment.
Correct.
And specifically for the education of homeowners is the price of professional staging is often less than the first significant price reduction.
Yes.
And the statistics back up the efficacy of professional staging, because stagers can go into a space, and if it's like a really big space, like, you know, I'm not a designer, I'm not a stager, I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
They can come in and go, oh, we need a living room here, we need a conversation pit there, we need this, we need that, and they can make it flow correctly and look right.
Right.
And that's really the power behind staging. And then the other beautiful thing is it photographs better.
Yeah.
And then the statistics back it up. Vacant, it was 90 days. Virtually staged was 50. Real stage with professional photos, they called us back out again, 11 days.
Yeah.
You know, like you cannot defy statistical proof.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing I like about you and your company, that you guys are just looking at data and saying, well, if this worked for, 65% of the real estate agents, it must be true.
Yeah.
Right. And also you guys are not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're just trying to fulfill the gaps that maybe the agent is overlooking. And let's be honest, some of the agents are, really good, people to get their listings signed, but, they're not designers. They're not interior designers.
Right.
They're just going to come in and say, hey, you know what? Come in and, take pictures. And, you have all the family pictures up in the wall still. And I mean, it's like there is a preparation. That's why the very top agents, they already have a system in place and they already got a lead.
But honestly, that knowledge, and that knowledge is of understanding that, like, it's, I'm not a designer, right? I'm a photographer. I can, like, my job is to put 4 borders around a concept and present it visually, right? But there's another case study. A client of mine in Lake Las Vegas, there's a house, I think it's around 3.5, I think is the price point, right? And it was on the market for a year with another agent.
Okay.
My client got it. She came in, did some staging, had the owners remove a bunch of stuff, and it was sold in like a week. Wow. I think 7 days. We did the whole works on that one. Photos, 360 tour, the floor plan, the drone, the twilight, the video. Great video. But I asked her, I was like, that was on the market. Like, there's nothing wrong with the house.
Right.
The house didn't really change.
Right.
I asked her, I was like, what's the deal? It was with this other agent for a year. And, I asked these questions because I'm genuinely curious. Because it couldn't have just been the photos, right? And sometimes it's the photos, but I don't believe that we're that influential in driving people through the doors, right? Yeah. I mean, we are in comparison to cell phone photos.
Correct.
But if the other agent used professional photos and then we come in and do professional photos, it's more than that, right?
Yes, correct.
So I probed her. I was like, let me fill in the gaps for me. Like, why did you sell this $3.5 million listing in 7 days when the other agent
had it for a year?
Had it for a year, and just a month ago, like, the market hasn't shifted that much in 1 month.
Right.
The only thing that's different and new is you. And her big thing goes into staging and design. She goes, the house was totally cluttered with all of their personal stuff. I was like, oh, okay, what did you do? It's all in the garage.
Right.
But the difference is she could come in and say, this is why this house is not showing well, because your stuff is in here.
Right.
Now, not every real estate agent has that, but every real estate agent can, if they have their seller-buyer system paperwork, have a stager on there. Stagers will come in for a very small fee, $200-$400, something like that, and say, yeah, this is what's wrong with this space. They don't even need to, not even staging. Staging can cost thousands and thousands of dollars, right? But they can come in and consult. It's like, here's what's wrong. You need to declutter all this stuff. We need to move the furniture around here, and we need to add a little bit of this and that, pop some color, and that's it. And, it doesn't cost that much. But again, that's knowing. If you don't know it, hire someone who does.
Right. And I think that's really, really important again, right? Because you are understanding what top producers do. And I've been in the industry for a long time, and you and I were talking before we jumped in the air. We said, there is a big difference between a real estate agent and a real estate consultant. And the real estate consultant right now in this down market that, everybody says, oh, it's a buyer's market and everything. Yeah, it's a little bit slow down, but you still have agents closing 3-5 deals a month because they're willing to adapt, but also they're very consistent of what the system they use to continue to go back and use it all the time.
Systems for the win, hands down. I think something that's lost on a lot of real estate agents, and it's my job as affiliates to educate them on this. Getting your real estate license means you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Just like me. I'm a business owner. It makes me an entrepreneur, right? The number one rule of entrepreneurialism, I'm going to look in the camera. The number one rule of entrepreneurialism is to never do yourself that which you can pay someone else to do better, cheaper, and faster.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to have you repeat that because a lot of the real estate agents, they're so willing to just like, I could do it myself. I know I could do it. And you know what? I'll give you power for wanting to do it. But what you just said is just saves you time.
Yeah, time.
And time is money.
Time is the one commodity you can't get more of.
Right.
Yeah. Number one rule of entrepreneurialism is to never do yourself that which you can hire someone else to do better, cheaper, and faster.
Right. And that's
the reason my team, it's the reason we don't edit.
Okay.
I sourced editors overseas so that our clients can get all their media, photos, and video in a day for photos and up to 3 days for video.
Oh, wow.
We're professional photographers. We work with professional editors.
Oh.
Because it would take us more time. If they're just focused on one task, they can do it better and faster.
Right.
Right? It costs me money to have an editing team, right? But it costs me to have a photography team, right?
Yeah.
If I did it all myself, I might be able to do 5 jobs a week.
Yeah.
But because I have a team on the ground here, I have a team overseas, we're doing like 135 to 150 shoots a month.
That's crazy.
You know, we're shooting close to like $50 million of property a week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. I was thinking about this last night. It's a lot.
That is a lot. And you know what? We've noticed that and again, right? We follow the real estate market because we're in it, but we've noticed that the inventory has gone bigger.
Way bigger, yeah.
Right? From what it was.
RJ made an article on it. There's $7 billion of inventory right now.
Yeah. And again, right now the buyers are like, oh, well, I have, options. Yes, you do have options, but also the options are not going to be open forever.
No.
I mean, there was our news article today, and there's a buzz going around that, Jerome Powell is thinking of, stepping down because just of all the pressure and everything. Well, if the interest rate drops under 5.5%, how many buyers do you think they're going to be?
Tons. Yeah, the interest rate would definitely supercharge the industry. But then, that drops, yeah. 100%.
But then all of a sudden now we have an issue where now you're competing with 10 other buyers for the same home, and now you got to go back to the highest and best, waive the appraisal,
and then property values increase. But look at the other side. Mm-hmm. Like I have not validated this either, but two sources who I would trust have told me that in McDonald Highlands alone, which is a large luxury community, but there are over 75 houses between $5 and $10 million.
Yes.
So I think, I'm not one of those buyers, but I think in that price range, most of those are probably cash transactions.
Oh,
or 1039 exchanges. They're not getting a mortgage for $8 million. No. So that's a big pool of luxury homes.
It is
available just there. Not even talking about like Roma Hills and Escaya, right. and that new one, Live Neo, right next door. Like that's a big pool of luxury homes and that's just 5 million to 10.
Right.
And there's a couple below and a couple higher than in that neighborhood there too.
Well, I was gonna say 10 years ago, Ian, a $5 million home was like, wow, that's high end. Now we're looking at the head coach of the Oakland A's came in and bought a $32 million home in freaking the Summit, and I'm like, those price ranges for us were like unknown.
Sure.
But now, and I talk to a lot of luxury agents that are like, you know what, in less than 4 or 5 years, we're gonna have a $80 million listing.
Oh wow.
I mean,
4 or 5 years?
In 4 or 5 years. Because, there's a lot of developers coming in and there's a lot of people that, you go to an $80 million in California and it's like, it's an okay home. But, you come here and $80 million homes, like you own half of the mountain.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You know what I mean? So it's that is changing so fast in that price range as well. So, I tell everybody, say, if you could afford to buy right now, buy. Because prices are not going to get cheap.
No, and you look at $1 million home now, and it's like I don't live in a luxury house, but my house is valued around $850, and I'm just like, $1 million home is just a home anymore, just because of the way property values have gone up in the last 5 years since COVID.
Correct.
I think it's been very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Only being in business 6 years and last 5 years just having this spike.
And you know what? We have a few minutes left, but I want you to tell me or share with our audience something that we were talking about before. And you said sellers are very emotional when they're selling.
Oh, right.
And I want you to explain and share that, idea that you were saying about the emotional part, because I think you nailed it on the head. And I think people really need to understand what you were talking about.
So, the biggest problem I think realtors face with listings and homeowners, and I'm sure all of you have had this scenario where you go into the house like, okay, according to all the comps, this house should be at $450,000. Yeah, but this is our home; it's the nicest home on the block. We want $485,000. Okay, so this is your job, and it's not always easy, but you need to overcome the hurdle with the homeowners that even though they're selling their home, nobody's buying their home. So sellers are selling something they have an emotional attachment to most of the time. Nobody wants to buy their home. They want to buy a house to create their own home. If they buy your home, they buy all your drama, all your BS, all your memories. They don't want that. They want to create their own memories, and that is the part of creating a home.
Correct.
So you might have this hurdle where our house is going to be the best in the neighborhood because it's ours. Shoot me now, right?
It's not. I'm sorry.
It's your job. Like, okay, like you want 485, but it comps out at 450. Like, it's your job to get them to that 450. How do you do it? Part of this could be the emotional component. I would put into your contract. I'm not a realtor, but if I were, I would put into the contract, we'll try it your way for 2 weeks. But if we don't hit these metrics, like number of requests for showings, number of feet through the door, if we don't hit these metrics, after 2 weeks, we go with the price I recommend.
Correct.
And here's the hard part. As a service industry, if somebody's out there with money, I have money for you. All you have to do is this service for me. It's hard to say no to that because you don't know where the next one's coming in.
Agree.
But that doesn't mean you need to work with every single client. Because if you're going to take a $450,000 listing and promise the sellers that you're going to sell it for $485, you bring us in to do a $1,500 package, you're out the $1,500 on us. You know, it's good to rep your brand with the professional content.
Correct.
But I think the biggest problem is you're out all the time. You could have spent better that time finding 2 deals at $350 who would be willing to sell at the price that their house comps out at.
Yes.
Saying no is the hardest part, but it's the most powerful part.
It is.
You know, and that's the other thing, right? If you're willing to walk away from a deal because it's a bad deal, that might change the seller's minds. Like, oh, wait, you just stood up for yourself?
Yes.
What the heck?
Exactly.
Nobody stands up for themselves anymore.
No.
Everyone's a superhero on social media, right? Like all of a sudden you're standing up to me in my face. It's like, you're saying you won't work with us because we want to price our house 25% over value?
Right.
That might turn a switch. Okay, try it our way 2 weeks and we'll go with your way. And if you can write it into the deal, then in 2.5 weeks, you might have a $450,000 properly comped sale.
Correct. And that's really important again, because, you know, everybody is their own little world. Everybody is their own little service, you know, and all, like you said, you know, homeowners are emotionally attached to their homes. You know, I mean, I'm sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, with your 6 years that you've been doing this, you showed up to a photo shoot and the seller is there.
Yeah, it's the worst. Almost as bad as when a tenant is there.
And then all of a sudden it's like, please don't forget to take picture of this tree because we put it in 35 years ago and it was a little itty bitty thing. You're like, it's a freaking tree, dude. I mean, it's not going to sell the home, right? I mean, it does create shade. And I mean, I get the idea of it, but the emotional attachment of that tree is like, that's not going to move the picture.
That's it. Nobody's buying a home. They're buying a house.
Exactly.
You know, you're selling your home, but if you as a realtor can shift their brain away from you are selling your home to we need to sell this house for you, that's a mindset shift that will only benefit not only the homeowners, but you, the realtor, as well, because now you're going to create fewer days on market for that home.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, your check is going to be in the in the bank a lot quicker than, you know, another 6-7 months. So
get paid and go get another deal.
That's right. Well, Ian, you know what? You're not going to believe this, but it is 11 o'clock in the morning.
I can't believe it. Yeah, it goes fast.
It does go really fast. But you know what? It's always fast because we have good content to talk about. I would love to offer you another segment because I think we haven't even really scratched the surface of what, you know, the provider services you do. And also, you know, the business partnership that you do with the agents. You know, you mentioned you have a couple of good clients that have understood what you've been able to provide for them as a value, and they continue to come back to you and say, hey, I need more help with another listing and I need this one. So
we've been called in recently for consultations because they realize that we're a media partner. We're not just a vendor.
Yes. And I love that. So again, if you want to give me your name of your company, how can people get a hold of you, your social media handles as well and everything? So like that they could follow you.
Once again, my name is Aeon Jones. I run the show at Avia Media Group. You can find us primarily on Instagram, avia.media.group. And or aviamediagroup.com. Going through a website rebuild right now. But if you call or text us on our business line, our customer success representative, Abby, she'll take care of everything you need. Answer any questions you have.
Perfect. Well, Ian, thank you so much for taking the time. We're gonna go ahead and schedule a second segment because the thing again is so important. I mean, we didn't even touch on the aspect that you were teaching in the class about how important is lighting, how important it is to take the right angle of the picture.
Right.
I mean, there's so many other technical things that
we can
didn't
also talk about strategy, like how to go to market, how to sequence photos.
Yeah. That's a good one too. So we're going to go ahead and leave that for the next episode. Hey, remember, my name is JC Castillo. I'm here with Lawyer's Title. If you need to sell or buy your home, don't let your real estate agent choose the title company. You, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, have the right to choose the title company if you want. If you want to use Lawyer's Title, we're definitely here. Remember, please follow us and give us a like. If you don't like the show, let us know why. And we're going to go ahead and make sure we tweak it to go ahead and please you, to make sure that you have the right information. Again, we are going to be out of here. I'm going to see you in the next episode. Please behave, that it doesn't cost anybody. Take care of each other, and real estate professionals, make sure that you guys do your due diligences, connect with partners. If somebody's going to be able to do things faster, quicker, get them done. Don't pretend that you could do it yourself. So please make sure you guys do everything. I'll see you in the next show, and have a wonderful rest of the day. It's really, really hot, so please make sure you stay cool as much as you can. So see you next time.